Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here, and this is the Astrological Winds channel. I'm going to take a look this week at the month of July's astrological weather report and also this week of July 1st through 7th. In the month, we've got two more of the outer planets going retrograde, and this week we've got a new moon at 15 degrees Cancer, and we've also got Mercury going into Leo. So, going to be talking about that for the next half hour. And just a little business first. The Astrological Winds channel is a video blog that I've been doing on YouTube for several years now. If you like what you see, I'd really like you to become a follower. And if you become a follower, don't forget to turn on your notifications so that you know when I post the blog. And remember, it was a podcast long before it was a video blog, and it's still available on podcasts. There's a bunch of them that pick it up. The podcast numbers have been going up lately a lot. It's distributed by Buzzsprout. So just, go onto your favorite podcasts and just look up Astrological Winds channel. You should be able to find it. And of course, the thing with the podcast is it does free you away from the video, which a lot of times is just, most of the time, is just me talking to the camera like today. Also, Astrological Winds channel has an Instagram page. So if you have an Instagram account, you can become a follower there, and the link will show up in your newsreel. And also, I do sometimes post extra commentary during the week on Instagram that's just in comment form. It's not a video or audio. So you might be missing out on some little tidbits here and there if you're not following me on Astrological Winds channel on Instagram. The other place I do post the blog is on my Facebook. That is a private account, and it's under my name, Matthew, with two T's, Lawton, Lauten. And you'll have to friend me, and I will approve that, and then it will show up in your newsreel once again. But the best place to find it is on my website, and that's www.astrologicalwinds.com. I embed each week's blog there. There's blogs from the past that you can go back to if you're looking for the monthly or the annual or something. Also, I have a calendar there, a calendar page that tells some of the holidays of the week, the ancient holidays each week. So that's kind of cool to check out. And that also has all the information for my professional services. I am a professional astrologer. I've been one for over 20 years. I had 7 years of formal training before that, and I would love to do your chart, somebody else's chart, or if there's some other astrological service for you or a group. My menu is there. Take a look at it. I can work with you on it. It doesn't hurt to open up a dialogue, and there's a contact for an email right there on the website. It is mattHue823@gmail.com, and I can work with you. And the other way you can support the blog is if you'd like to give a donation, either through Venmo or Cash App or some other app. Every $5 that you give enters you into a chance to win a free reading, and I'll probably do a drawing at that. Maybe the end of this month, we'll see. I'm wanting to collect a certain amount, so before I actually do the drawing. So some people have been giving. I really appreciate that. My Venmo handle is at Matthew-Lawton, Lauten. My Cash App handle is the $ Matthew Lawton, and the Matthew has two T's, capital M, capital L, and it's Auten. So if you'd like to enter a chance to win a free reading, that's your chance to do that. And remember, the biggest thing I ask you to do with the blog, since I'm offering a free service, I would really appreciate it if you could pass it along every week to somebody you think might be interested in it. That's the way I really like to get the blog together. I want it to be like integrating deeply with people who are really into it rather than being this wide, superficial thing. So really appreciate the people who are following. I know there's a bunch, hundreds and hundreds of you, and I really appreciate that. So please pass it on to somebody else, and like we can help each other out that way. All right, let's get into July first. So here in July, there's 4 things I want to mention And remember, when I do the monthly, it's always about the outer planets, like what's happening with them. And two of the outer planets are going to go retrograde this month. And it's starting right now, tomorrow, actually, July 2nd, when Neptune goes retrograde. And what's really interesting about this is it's going at retrograde at 29 degrees 56 minutes of Pisces. So literally 4 minutes before it will go into Aries, and it's going to backtrack to 27 degrees 8 minutes of Pisces until December 6th, when it will turn direct again. So we just miss Neptune dipping its feet into the waters of Aries, or into the fire of Aries, so to speak, in this place, in this case. And that is going to be a huge shift next year. I will be talking to that about that extensively when I do the annual. It is going to be a huge, huge shift. But what's interesting about this, if you notice, like I said, it's like right about 30 degrees, and it's going to go back to 27 by December 6th when it turns direct again. And so those are the three last degrees of the sign, right? And that's what we call critical degrees in astrology. And it's when it's the last degrees, it's a lot to me about what have we learned from this? Have we learned lessons that Neptune and Pisces over the last 20 years has been teaching us? Or is it, something where we haven't, and we're lost in confusion? And it's so it's an interesting time on that level, because this is a really critical time in the world. And when you think about Pisces, right, we're at, a lot of we're at the end of the age of Pisces. We're transitioning right now into the age of Aquarius. And I frankly believe that's about a 200-year process that we're approximately halfway through. And so here we have another harbinger of the ending of the age of Pisces, right? This last 20 years is, while Neptune, close to 20 years anyway, has been in Pisces, we've seen a lot of dichotomy in belief systems, right? A lot of dichotomy, a lot of division, a lot of um, divide energy and conquer energy, right? Of others' belief systems. So that's that part of Pisces where, I've said this before, it's a dualistic sign. So that's why it's setting up these two different energies through Neptune, through beliefs, through what we value, through our ideals. And so we're going to really get to contemplate the next few months, while we watch the world unfold, what what that's brought us to, what this dichotomy between these two belief systems that has been prevalent throughout the world, and particularly in the United States, what that has led us to, where society is at this point. Remember, Neptune is it's an outside, we can't see it. We can't see it with our naked eye. It is operating on very subconscious levels on each of us individually, and it is a collective planet. It really does not care about individuals very much. It has a much greater purpose for humanity, to evolutionize us as a collective, as a species, into another area. So we're going to be able to use these next 5 months and see how, like, these entrenched positions over values, over ideals, over beliefs, where it's led us in this world, and the dichotomy that it's set up, and the division that it's set up by not seeing that connection underneath, that lies underneath everything that Pisces is showing us. So we're going to get to see a lot of those results. And on a personal level, it can be, disenchanting, because we're going to get to see how our ideals, because Neptune is so much about ideals, that it doesn't blend well with reality many times. That the ideas and reality, there's usually a pretty big gap between. And I think that's what we're all going to have to personally contemplate over this next few months, is like how the ideals that we believe in are not working well within the framework of reality, that it's maybe even causing more of this dichotomy to occur, that maybe some of the ideas we have are actually causing division. They're not causing unification, which is what Pisces really wants. That's what Neptune really wants. So it's going to give us lessons, and they may be hard lessons, to bring us to that understanding. So we're going to get to contemplate that stuff ourselves. And the good thing about that is that maybe we can use that time to like make the adjustments on the inside to, face that reality of like where they're falling short, and how like we brought and contributed to this dichotomy, to this swimming away from each other, when we're actually all connected underneath as a species at the very least, right? So, group energy can achieve much more and much quicker and be a greater sum of its parts than the individuals within that group can ever be. And that may be a lot of the lesson that we're going to learn. And then we're going to get Neptune going to Aries next year. And then once again, just like Chiron in Aries, who's going to take charge of your spiritual path, of your ideal path, of your value path? It's going to have to be you. You're going to stop having other people tell us what's right and what's wrong. We're going to have to find that within ourselves. We're going to have to take that adventure within ourselves, and it's going to be risky, but that's the only way we're going to find a new frontier. So we're going to have time to like really contemplate that in the next few months. Then on July 10th, the North Node and Uranus will be in a semi-square with one another. And this to me is going to be a lot about frustration, about not getting the recognition for your unique individuality within groups or within relationships, and not feeling that you're getting the respect that you should for the talents that you have. So it can give a very restless feeling. It can be very, very frustrating, and you can get very irritated with other people or groups that you suspect are not giving you that energy. And the other thing about this too, it's Uranus, so that's always like, once again, like Neptune, it's one of the, we can't see Uranus with our naked eye. It's more of a subconscious collective force that's working on us, and it is in charge of like large upsetting events that many people within a group, North Node, will have to share together. So we may have, this is going to be in effect all month. So we may have a lot of like electrical storm activity, earthquake, natural disasters, surprising possibly events by individuals, humans who are acting rebelliously, that, can be very upsetting. So that's something to look for this month too. Then on the 15th, what I think is the best of the long-term transits for the month of July, we've got Jupiter sextiling the North Node. And this is really, bringing in harmonious, beneficial relationships to yourself, through others, through groups, through relations, the ability and the desire to meet others halfway and be very congenial about that. So it's really like being in a really good flow with life and with yourself and with other people. And it's really advantageous the most, once again, for business. For business groups, it can bring opportunities in, and just bring new energy into you. So I really think this whole month, this will be in effect again. It'll be exact on the 15th, and this is just a really great time to use that energy. Then on the end of the month, July 26th, Chiron will be the other one that goes retrograde. So now we're going to have, by the end of July, it's going to be Saturn, Chiron, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograde at that point for the planets retrograde. And Chiron's going to go retrograde at 23 degrees 32 minutes of Aries, right before a conjunction with Eris. And that is another big thing that's going to be happening next year, like Neptune going into Aries. Next year is going to be a huge year, you guys. Don't miss my annual blog in January on that one. And it's going to go retrograde back to 19 degrees of Aries exactly on December 28th. So pretty much the rest of this year, we're going to have Chiron retrograde in Aries. And what this is going to be about is, like, I've talked to you about a lot the last few years about Chiron and Aries, about having to take responsibility for our own healing journey and our own learning journey about life and what hurts us, and how we are the ones who are the authors of our own demise in that way. And that's what this Chiron retrograde is going to show. It's going to show us how our own actions mess us up, how our own actions screw us up when we're impulsive, when we're angry, when we're selfish, when we're insensitive, when we're tactless, when we're pushing our agenda and not considering how that's rippling out and affecting others around us and the world around us. So we're going to really pay for some of those mistakes the next few months. We're going to get to see how our own actions have messed us up, and especially if they're in relation to that stuff I just talked about being too self-centered. So, like, this is going to have us once again look back. We're going to go kind of lick our wounds. We're going to be like the animal, the injured beast who goes into the cave and is licking his wounds and has to re-heal, has to regenerate. You remember, a lot of the Chiron is up here. It can be physical too, but a lot of it's, regenerating our own damage, psychology, psyche, thoughts, energy from what we've seen. So the goal of Chiron is to get us wiser, for us to learn through those mistakes what's going on, and with us, and why we keep hurting ourselves. It's like self-inflicted damage. Like I said, we're being the authors of our own demise. So we're going to retreat back, and we're going to be able to contemplate and see how we do that. And maybe we can come up with some new approach once again. And then when the Chiron goes direct, we can start to bring that out. Okay, now the week. I want to get to the week now. And the week has several things that I want to talk about. The main ones being Mercury going into Leo and the new moon at 15 degrees Cancer. So the first thing is tomorrow, and I already talked about it. Neptune is going retrograde tomorrow. But interestingly enough, Mercury, which is right at the end of Cancer, is going to trine that stationary Neptune. So once again, critical 30th degree trine here going on, right? Then this can get us in a very idealistic state of mind where we're really feeling very positive. It's almost like being high on the ideas that we've been exposed to, and it can really fire up our imagination, our inspiration, our ideas that that we're into. So it's a really good day to, like, just allow that stuff to run in your mind. It can really tap us into intuition too. We can be extremely intuitive with this energy and be very, very insightful in picking up subtle energy. We can read the thoughts, actually, of even in others' minds, that if we can, like, be open and receptive enough. But it also opens us very much up to the subtle worlds, to psychic energy, to spiritual energy, to creative type energy. And you can get into some very abstract conversations that are very stimulating. And then all of a sudden you want to output, right? You want to start being creative with words. Like, it really help anyone who's an artist that uses words in any way, lyrics, poetry, storytelling, writing, things like that. It is a great day to get down and get into that flow. And it's such a critical time because at that 30th degree, it can really help us, align with those values and those beliefs and be like, I want to step this up to the next level. I'm going to, allow this to flow into me and flow back out and bring it out. And then right after that happens tomorrow, Mercury will slip right into Leo, because they're going to be, the trine's going to be at 29:56. So literally 4 minutes of arc later, and Mercury slips into Leo, and this will be the first of the planets to go into the Leo parade, as they do every summer. The Sun and the two most innermost planets, anyway. And so Mercury will be in Leo until July 26th, right? So that's almost about what, like 3.5 weeks, right? That's a pretty long time for Mercury to be in a sign. It can shoot through a sign in, less than 3 weeks, sometimes closer to two. But what's happening now is Mercury is starting to slow down again. It's getting ready for its second retrograde. And so I'm warning you guys now, think of your planning in August. Mercury is going to be retrograde most of August. Okay. So it's going to go until July 26th. It'll be in Leo, and then it'll go into Virgo until August 16th. Okay. And then it will at that point, and it'll be in its retrograde cycle. It will retrograde back into Leo, actually, and stay in Leo until September 9th. So it'll be another 3.5 weeks. So we're going to get an extended Mercury in Leo visitation, but we're going to have a little in between, some Virgo for a couple weeks. But this is when we're really, really confident about our ideas. Like, we have a very much want to get our ideas, our beliefs out there. We're really assertive about pushing what we want to do. We have a very decisive mind, and we're really confident of what we believe in, and we will take in new stuff too. We're not, but what we will do is, when we take in new stuff, we'll make it our own. We'll like blend it right into those ideas that we have, and it will fire us up even more, stimulate us even more. We have a lot of pride in our own creative ideas, and we won't back down. There's like a stubbornness in the belief of our energy. Now, here's the thing, though. It's in the sign of the truth seeker, so it's going, even though it's, pushing for its ideas, it's going to, like, even, be looking at its own self and being like, making sure that it's right, that it really can, that this is what, is the truth, and is willing to make those adjustments and making an honest assessment of what you want. So very direct energy with others, with your words. They're honest and forthright, and even willing, wanting to find people who will give you advice, people who you value their opinions, those kind of things. But remember, we can get definitely a little bit self-righteous about things when we're about our ideas with Mercury and Leo, and that can definitely put some people out, is a good way to say that. But it's just really, we really focus in on ideas that are big to us personally. So that's like why we're so strong about it. And then, interestingly enough, a lot of stuff going on Tuesday. Venus is trine Saturn on Tuesday too, and this is another trine. It's another very flowing energy, and what it does is, Venus is about relationships. It favors stable, sober relationships, building long-term relationships, wanting to do that. And it's really, for me, in my opinion, it's always been best for business relationships, because there's an emotional detachment that goes on. Most of the emotion under this is self-talk within ourselves. It's not a very romantic aspect, and it is good for solidity with friends, though, too, especially friends that you're not deeply emotional with, you're not really intimate with. You can really bond, and it's great for, like, discussing things too with people who are, like, on that level of relationship with you, like a good friend or business people that you're working with. It's a really good time to iron out things, and be really detached in the way that you're approaching things. We have a conservative approach in our thought patterns to money, to resources, to relationships, and everything. We really, like, want to take it slowly and soberly and build something for the future. And so it's really good energy like that. And we can, like I said, just be very, very detailed and conservative about the way we're doing things. And on Wednesday, I think this is going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, trickiest thing of the week. There is another one. Mercury is going to oppose Pluto on Wednesday. And that's a tough one because we get very, very obsessed with our ideas and we get compulsive about pushing them onto other people. It's like propaganda. It's like mental warfare, psychological warfare. Like, because what's going to happen when we push our ideas or have ideas pushed on us by others, we automatically get into a defensive thing. And then with this, we can really see what's going on underneath the surface, or we're being driven blindly by it. So it can get very dramatic, it can get very passionate, there can be a lot of conflict and disagreement, and it can devolve into, like I said, a psychological warfare, power tripping kind of game. The best use of this energy is actually psychological self analysis, just like not getting into this judgmental state of mind and projecting it out, but actually bringing it back in, using it to look at your own psyche and like, why are you being so compulsive? Why are you like, trying to maybe be the perpetrator or stirring things up? This can be like I said, it can be very interesting. It can bring a lot of conflict. It can bring kind of victim perpetrator kind of energy. So this is going to be one of the most challenging aspects of the week, no doubt about it. And then on Friday, we have three things going on Friday that I wanted to talk about, and one of them being the new moon. But quickly, the other two things. The first is we have a nice Mars sextile Saturn. And the Mars sextile Saturn will blend really well with the Venus trine Saturn too, and even the new moon. There's this very conservative energy this week about like, being careful with the way we approach things and making sure that we're building stuff that's solid and stable. So Mars sextile Saturn gives us the opportunity to do that. It is a slow release of energy where we're building for the future and we're very detailed. It's like building block by block by block by block, and we're getting everything perfectly to fit right. We release our energy very well. We're willing to sacrifice present pleasure and benefits for what we feel will be a stable future. So this is a great time to work on your own projects, to just work at your job, your career, best alone, really, best alone. Like, but you can work in groups that are matching that energy. But you really, like I said, a time once again we will consolidate resources and like have a conservative approach, be okay with very good discipline, really strong discipline that we have during that energy. So this whole week really has that, a lot of that energy going on. And then the other tough one this week is Venus square Chiron on Friday, especially in emotional relationships that have been in stress or in pain or in conflict. This is one where you can really have your buttons pushed. You can really get hurt. You can make or receive insensitive remarks that put you in an emotional tailspin. Usually, like I said, it has to do with relationships that are intimate, that have gotten to a stress point. It also can literally be having to say goodbye or separating yourself physically from loved ones, even though it's not like a breakup. It's just like, oh, I have to say goodbye to this person. I may not be seeing them for a while, that kind of energy. So, and once again, got to watch our finances with this energy too. We can be hurt if we're foolish with our finances. So now I want to get into that new moon. I'm running out of time, and thankfully this new moon's really pure. There's not a lot to say about it. It's a new moon in Cancer at 15 degrees. So look at where 15 degrees Cancer is in your chart, and that's where this new moon is going to fall. And if you need a mini new moon reading, you know how to get in touch with me, right? We can do a mini new moon reading for like, not very expensive. It's not long and not expensive. But, this new moon is not ruled by any planet because it's in Cancer, and Cancer is ruled by the moon. So there's a pure energy to this new moon, and it's not got any exact aspects either. There's a applying trine to Saturn, but it's still wide. So this new moon is really, to me, operating kind of in a vacuum. It's very, very pure. And I think that is going to give us the experience of having some very um, unfiltered or unadulterated emotions come through us, where we're going to really look at the things that bring us security, look at the things that we need to feel like we have family, to feel like we have home, to feel like we have a hearth to come back to. Probably some new things have come up in relation to those things. And it's really going to give us an ability to look at it in this very pure way and possibly be very honest with ourselves about our emotional needs, without interference. We might have like gotten some new kind of exposure during, and we'll see, wow, I didn't realize I had these kinds of needs, and I didn't realize I didn't need some of this other stuff, maybe some of the negative cancer stuff, when your loved ones are trying to manipulate you or live your life for you, move you around. That's the negative part of cancer, when the love becomes smothering and the loved ones are pushing. So gives us an opportunity. I mean, what does the Cancer new moon want? It wants emotional input. Cancer lives for emotional input. It has very little desire to go into the intellect, and it really wants that emotional input. So that's what it needs, and it's really looking for that, and it expresses that and wants that mainly through our loved ones. Okay, so we can be very protective of our loved ones. We want to, build a fortress around their heart, right? We want to build a fortress around your heart and protect that and keep it in a safe, secure hearth, in a place where there's a home for that to come back to. Like I said, the danger of that is when we're trying to dictate too much to our loved ones and we can actually drive them away. We may also find ourselves involved with, like, our mothers, or having to mother people in this energy. And once again, we're very conservative with our ideals. We are based on Cancer is a sign that looks to the past to know that it's going to get what it needs. So it can limit itself in many ways, but it knows that it's going to get its needs met. So we can, get involved with some of the stuff. And the worst thing about Cancer is when we get to that point where we're not getting our emotional needs met, and then we try to emotionally control others. Now, the trine to Saturn that it's applying to, and it's 5 or 6 degrees, just reiterates everything else that's been going on this week. This week is about building stable relationships for the future, and stable resources for the future. And it's a conservative approach. And you're looking for the people who are solid. You're looking for the people who are sober. You're looking for the people who are like your friends. And you're looking for like business type connections that will help you achieve that, and working together to do that. So that's what this new moon wants from us too. All right. Well, that's our week and our month. I've gone a long time and I don't want to go too much further here. This is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel. It's a free video service on YouTube. Please become a follower, turn on your notifications. Please pass the link along. Please support me when you need a reading. Check the website out, www.astrologicalwinds.com. If you've got $5 to spare and you want to enter a chance for the raffle, please send that along too. That would be great. Like I said, in both Cash App and Venmo and other ways of getting that to me. And every $5 you donate, you get a chance to win a free reading. Remember, it's also available on podcasts, Instagram, Facebook. Look up Astrological Winds channel, and my website, www.astrologicalwinds.com, has all the blogs on it, has the calendar, has the menu for the services. Thank you, all of you who have supported me over the years. I really, really appreciate you guys. Please pass the link along now. And I will see you all next week when we have Venus drawing Mercury into the Leo fires. So that'll be a big shift for Venus's energy. I'll see you all then.